Ladies and gentlemen, making his return to Academy Presents, and he is the cover athlete for MLB 14, the show. This is Brett Lawrie. Welcome back, sir.
It's time to go down memory lane. And remember a guy, if you're a Blue Jays fan during the early 2010s, you'd be familiar with. Hothead Brett Lawrie, Canadian, came in at 21, and honestly, watching him as a kid, I thought he had all the potential in the world. And it all came crashing down. Let's get into it. Brett Lawrie was originally born in Langley, BC in 1990. Growing up, he excelled at baseball. He also grew up around tough love that helped both his great talent and the personality we saw as a ball player. As a result, he was drafted 16th overall in the first round of the 2008 MLB draft by the Milwaukee Brewers, the highest drafted Canadian position player at the time. Then came the minor leagues, and like all minor leaguers, Brett Lawrie kept on proving himself. He became a top prospect, and sooner or later, the Brewers had a gem. What followed was a trade in the 2010 deadline. The rebuilding Jays had a good rotation arm in Sean Markham, and the Brewers wanted an arm. And so, Brett Lawrie was shipped off to Toronto, and it was a match made in heaven. A Canadian playing the hot corner for Canada's team. Out the gate in 2011, after a trade deadline, Brett Lawrie was called up, and he looked exceptional. In 43 games that season, his slash line was elite. A 953 OPS and 153 OPS plus. The Blue Jays had finessed the Brewers. A Canadian would become the new face of the Toronto Blue Jays, and he was just 21. Then came 2012. Injuries piled up, and the once promising bat he had became average. He was still serviceable with a 729 OPS, but it was an alarming sign, and most hoped for a rebound. It was only his second season. It's 2013, Brett's third year, and again, injuries like an oblique strain, a high ankle sprain, caused him to miss large portions of the season, stunting any growth we had hoped for Lawrie. Much of the same followed in 2014, and a trend had begun, and not a good one. Lawrie would pick up injury after injuries that kept him out for large portions of the season. It felt like the chronic oblique strain issue, and he even picked up a fractured finger in 2014. The then GM had to make a decision. A third baseman with a good track record was available, and Brett Lawrie will be dealt to the Oakland A's. Josh Donaldson had become a Toronto Blue Jay. In Oakland, he played a good portion of games and got consistent game time. The problem was he was slashing a 706 OPS, and being just average, he very much or less became expandable. You would never want to be expandable. The injuries had hampered any ceiling he had to grow as a player, and he was traded just 1 year into his Oakland tenure to the White Sox in 2016. Another year passed, and the same injury-plagued issues followed. As a result, our rebuilding White Sox released Brett Lawrie, and he was a free agent at the age of 26. Both teams had decided it was time to move on. You see, we've seen this in sports before, where an injury-prone player gets released, and some team gives them a chance to have some good depth, especially at the hot corner. The issue was, Brett Lawrie was, putting it mildly, was a hothead, with countless instances that made him look unpleasing to every MLB team. Your attitude matters just as much as what you can put on the field. Then you added his injury history, and teams just didn't ring him a call, and he never played another season in the MLB. At one point at 21, he was on top of the world, and he truly is a what-if player. I remember a specific play. Bases are loaded, and Brett Lawrie bats the ball down. He pulls off a double play by touching the bag at third and throwing a jump throw at home. Sure, it was Big Papi at third base, but still, to me, this was a perfect representation of the player he could have been if he stayed healthy. Even though his career ended in a dire state, and he retired at 26 at this point, he was the one who headlined the Donaldson trade and brought us an MVP and those playoff moments. It's all a butterfly effect. Canada's golden child was robbed by injuries. Okay, I shouldn't be calling him a golden child, we already know his track record, but... Well, ladies and gents, we have made it to the end of this video. I had a blast just remembering all the fond memories of Brett Lawrie as a player, and the very rough ones. Lawrie will forever be a Jays hero in a sense, as without him, we don't have these iconic 2015-16 seasons. So, if you want to see more rewinds and players of the past, like a Brett Lawrie, and I'm working on Aaron Sanchez, let me know in the comments what you'd like to see. I appreciate every single one of you who made it this far. And yeah, thanks for watching, and keep watching them Jays, and peace.